Hey y'all, welcome to my first fade tutorial. A how-to on avoiding this on extremely curly hair to achieve this, a nice smooth transition. Let's get into it. Putting in the first line is the utmost important part, making sure that I don't place that line too high. There are so many steps between this first line graduating all the way up to such a long length. You want to make sure that you give yourself enough room to create that flawless blend. A standard fade consists of 3 sections. Haircuts like this require sometimes 4 and 5. But before we get into all that, I want to point out 2 things. My son has a natural light spot on his head. I'm taking note of that as I pick out his hair before I even get to start fading. I'm preparing myself, which leads me to my second point, the top down, bottom up method. This is a method I've used for over 15 years. I learned it from Arthur Muhammad, who was my teacher in barber school back in the day. This method allows me to cut faster because I'm taking out a lot of the weight before I even have to fade into it. It also helped me blend in that light spot. So with that 1.5 guard, I opened it and closed it and went against the grain in certain areas to just create that level playing field. Right here, I'm going through and combing it, seeing anything that I missed, and I'm slowly working my way up as it gets longer, and that's how I was able to find those spots. So now I'm gonna open up my 2 guard and go in and get all those darker spots working up, because the higher you go, the higher the guard has to be. So I didn't intend on going much higher than this because we were kind of rushing this morning. I didn't have time to completely pick out his hair. So I just did as much as I could and got straight into the fade. From this point on, it's fairly easy for me and it went by fairly quick. And I truly believe it's because I use an adjustable clipper, but I will do a separate video on that part. I mean, if you know, you know, and if you don't, go ahead, subscribe, like, and comment, and hit the notification bell so that you're notified when I begin to, upload different videos discussing different haircut techniques. And for time's sake of the video, that's why I went ahead and just sped up this part. I fade in 3 sections. Sometimes I start from the left and work my way to the right, or vice versa. It really doesn't matter because I use the exact same technique. Like when I first started, I would start at one level and then work my way all the way across the head until I started noticing different issues come about with different people's heads. But I'm gonna be quiet and let y'all just watch this part. I'll be back.
Train her feet for running. Show her every door and how the windows let the sun in. Copy out the key and tell her this is for becoming. Even in the fever, baby, cry and get to running. And tell her that you better get your bootstraps up. You're with the army. Ready when the truth act up, nothing can harm me. Yelling from the roof I touch, put up a guard and count to 10. Lions den, speaking with the higher pen. Can't be touched by fire then. Fast forward to the grown things now. I'm working on them soul things now. Forgiving all your old ways, but it's harder on the cold days. Cold days. Never been a product of a flawless environment. Never acted like I'm higher than you. And I still pray, dear God, won't you?
And in case y'all was wondering why the focus is in and out, it's because I got this new 15 Pro and I recorded under the cinematic video, and I'm still getting the hang of it, so bear with me. Okay, so now let's get into removing all of this weight. I slapped on my 1 guard, and as you can see, I'm using like a sweeping motion. I'm really lightweight. I'm like consistent strokes. I'm not really losing too much contact with the head. I'm twisting and turning my clipper, trying to tackle these curls and waves. The adjustable allows me to adjust the single guard that I have to tackle different parts of the hair that are twisting and waving and curling and turning and doing all that. So I work my way down by closing the clipper, and if I have to go back up, I'll open the clipper. Oh, and reminder, we are blending section 2 of this haircut. We have not got to 3 or 4 yet. This is still section 2. Ooh, here come a good part. So remember what I said about sections. The middle part of most people's heads, especially my baby head, the hair has way more strands. It is so dense and thick in this area, and the hair is growing sideways. And because of that, I have to cut this section shorter so that it matches the right and left side of his head. Again, I'm cross-checking with the thickest part to the lowest part to make sure that it's blending. I'm paying attention to where I still have to go in and clean up some areas as I fade up, because that top-down, bottom-up method is used throughout the entire haircut because you have to go through and check as you fade. And as you can see, my method is working, but it reminds me of that first point I made that if I started too high, y'all, can you imagine how high up I would be by now with all these steps that I've taken? And we are still in section 2. I'm gonna stay in section 2 with this 0.5 because the middle and thickest part of his head needs that 0.5 to blend all the way out, even though the sides are already blended. When this area is clean, I will jump to my number 2 guard, which is level 3. And we're not worried about level 3 right now. You know why? Do you remember? Because we worked on that first. Okay, that was the top down part. So right now I have to focus on all this, remaining little weight. You're going to see me go back down to level 1 and just make sure that everything is cohesive and blending as much as possible, despite his hair being so curly and wavy. But it's possible if you work in sections, work those different levels, and do your due diligence. I'm showing y'all. Now, a few barbers will look at this and be like, that's clean. Section 1 and 2, she did that. But it's not clean at all. I have to come back to section 1 with the first few teeth on the blade, and I'm going to point cut, aka notch cut, and clean up little spots that need to be blended a little bit more. And this is mainly in super wavy and curly textures. But don't be overconfident in this unless you're confident in this, because one wrong move in the wrong section with them little teeth will throw your entire fade off, and you will have to raise that fade higher and virtually start over. Now, where I just pointed is section 2. Don't come in there unless you're super confident and can do what I just did right there. Okay, so this line right here, a lot of barbers can't see that, but I can see that, and I know you can see it because this is up close. Okay, this is the stuff that we see in y'all pictures and posts when you go ahead and post it, thinking that your fade is clean. And this is why, this camera, I'm so sorry, y'all, but you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so the master or whatever adjustable that you're using, the lowest blade that you have, sometimes cannot get out that line, and this is why you need a super sharp edger or liner to come in there and carefully use the last few teeth, angle it a certain way and really just knock out those teeny tiny little hairs that's causing a weight line. You can actually avoid this fine line by not putting in your first line with the liners, but I really did want that skin bald look at the bottom. But as time goes on and you practice and you get the logic behind it, you get results like this. I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a 9.5 out of 10, okay? Especially because we was kind of rushing. Okay, section 3, let's go. I'm gonna do the same thing I did in section 2, open and close my guard and clean up what needs to be cleaned up and move on to section 4. But I'm mainly focused on sweeping my hand outwards because we are in dangerous territory with the hair being so long. Okay, last section. Section 4 is where it all comes together. Section 4 is where it will either make your haircut or break your haircut. But we good. You know why? Because we started off the way that we did and we put that first line as low as we did. So now up here, all I have to do is shape the fade into position. I don't need no more guards. All I need is my comb, and I am going to confidently go in And you can see the fade coming together as I blend the shape into the fade. Another way to achieve this is scissor over comb, clipper over comb, or just straight scissors. So we're reaching the end of this video now. I appreciate you guys for tuning in up to this point. Unfortunately, I had to cut some parts out, skip a few steps just so that we could get out the door, but I promise that the next video will be better. No camera issues and all that. Comment below if you found this video helpful. Feel free to share with someone who is thinking about becoming a barber. And you can share it with nail techs, because I do nails too, and I also have nail tutorials and new nail tutorials on the way. So thank you again for watching. If you want to connect with me on my other platforms, please read the description and tap on my link tree. With that one link, you can follow me on the gram, you can like my Facebook business page, you can follow me on TikTok, and you can check out my Amazon storefront, where I really do have the best recommendations for nail techs, barbers, stylists, moms, dads, if you want to, get a new Bible. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get at y'all in the next video. Bye for now, and God bless you.